Acknowledge me!
You just made the list!
I am the wwenxt.
I'm better than you, and you know it! Damn!
Welcome back to Down Under the Mat podcast here in Madison Square Garage, around the pool table of relevancy. To my left, Mr. Daniel Danielson. To my right, Roddy Reece. I am Booker Ted. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment on this video and podcast. Make sure you check us out on X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, etc. Very important. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, share, all that stuff. Help us out. Make sure you subscribe. This is Down Under the Mat podcast, here to talk all things wrestling. We've already released an episode about the Royal Rumble, so go check that out.
Our pay-per review.
So this one
I come
we're
up with
talking
some
about.
good shit sometimes.
Oh, sometimes.
Sometimes. We're talking about all the news and rumors for the last couple of weeks, because obviously we've been away. So this is our first video in a fortnight.
I appreciate you guys giving us a holiday.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe some more time for my voice to get back, and it's still not fucking there. So I'm sorry.
It's getting there, dude. It's better.
It's
getting
better.
there.
It's just not quite there.
We just, you might need to rest it up a little bit more, bro.
Okay. Can do.
No going to
we'll do our
concerts.
Yeah,
Nothing.
What
come
are we
on,
doing
man.
next weekend?
Concerts.
Is it a wrestling show and a concert?
Wrestling show and a Maybe at the wrestling show you'll yell it back into shape.
But
Maybe.
what's more importantly, boys, is we are now 4 weeks away from
We
the
are
Elimination Chamber.
Less than 1 month.
Perth.
This is
So
exciting
pumped.
stuff, man. I'm so pumped.
And especially now, watching the Royal Rumble, seeing who's won.
And now we know what stories are potentially going to
Yes.
unfold
I'm
in
pumped.
the lead up.
If you guys are going to be there, let us know in the comments. Hit us up. Maybe we can meet up for a drink, have a chat about wrestling. Let us know what you think of a podcast. Be nice. Be nice.
3
We're
weeks
still
and 6 days until Elimination
here.
Chamber.
Oh, there we go.
But it's that means it's only like
excited.
3 weeks till we're actually on holiday, though, because we go over there early.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're going to come check out Perth. If anyone's got any recommendations of what to do in Perth, other than like Rottnest Island, that's pretty obvious. But any other spots, any good food places to go check out, especially if it's like American style barbecue or something like that, maybe. Anyone's got any recommendations,
Shove
let
me
us
some
know.
Ribs in my mouth.
All right, so let's get into the news and rumors. We're going to hit off with, obviously, the big dark cloud that is...
What was that?
Loud.
I was trying to be subtle. It didn't work.
The big dark cloud that is hanging over the wrestling world in general, mainly WWE Vince McMahon.
Yeah, so let's get the negative out of the way first.
Yes, and obviously, if you
It's
haven't,
big.
we'll provide a link in the comments if you haven't read the court documents
Or
that have
if
been
you want
provided to
to,
court with
I would advise
allegations against Vince McMahon is the main defendant, Laurinaitis and others. Look, first of all, if you haven't read them,
Trigger warning.
bit of a trigger warning. Yeah, I read through the entire
It's some pretty
thing.
confronting shit.
Yeah.
Like, we all knew Vince was bad. I don't think we thought it was like this.
We didn't think it was this bad.
No. Like, some of the stuff that I read, there's even screenshots of text messages exchanged. Like, it's pretty confronting, like, just one word down
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
And the first thing that I want to comment on that is that, like, I've seen a lot of discourse on Twitter and X and stuff around, you can doctor text messages and people can Photoshop things, blah, 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 blah. Just understand that these are submitted as part of a legal court case submitted to a judge in the American legal system.
Yeah.
You're not doctoring text messages because that's fraud.
Yeah.
You will
Yeah.
go to jail.
Yes.
yeah.
So for this sort of stuff to be put in front of a court of law, in front of a judge,
And I think the other thing as well, obviously, is now we all have to realize as wrestling fans and people in general, this will end up being some form of court case. Whether or not it actually goes to a trial or not, that's yet to be seen. But I think obviously people are going to be super careful because we see what happens with high-profile cases like, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Some bad stuff can happen if things go viral online. It can make parties look bad and people spreading rumors and all sorts of stuff. So I think it's very important that we don't necessarily go into too much detail because, some of the things that have been said, like we've already said it, right? Pretty heavy allegations. So I'm sure the person making those allegations, they're probably going through a pretty tough time already without having to see anything online making
And
jokes of the
To be
matter,
fair,
etc. So
we're wrestling content. We're not legal people.
Yeah.
No.
no,
We're not the
at all.
Wall Street Journal. If you want to see the court case and all that sort of stuff, look at the Wall Street Journal
Yeah.
and what it's going to do on it. Like,
Yeah.
not us.
Like the lawsuit's only been filed 3 days ago.
yeah.
So like, it's going to be a while before we see anything like properly happen.
Yep. Do you wanna
So
read
the statement
statements?
Yeah.
that came out from was it Nick Khan?
Yeah, we'll
that
get Nick
came
Khan
out.
first.
So I guess firstly, to provide the context before this statement happened,
Yeah.
court case was out on the 23rd,
Yep.
Yep.
was leaked. There were statements made by parties, but nothing really happened.
But then Slim
Slim
Jim.
As the
sponsor?
major sponsor, who've been with like WWE for like 40 years, since like Macho Man, right?
Yeah. Long time.
Said, hey, look, with these allegations, we will pull our sponsorship, or we'll pause our sponsorship whilst this is ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Within hours, these statements then came out. So I think from my side, I guess one of the sort of sad parts is that the legal documents were out there and everyone kind of was just like, well, let's just play it out.
Yeah.
But then a sponsor with money was like, we're not here. They were like, all right, we're going to do something.
Yeah.
You should have done this without the sponsor's pressure,
Yeah.
but I think it's good that
That they-
happened. And then as a business,
Well,
they
and
reacted.
and the statement is very short and sweet. To be honest,
Yeah.
it's to the point. So it literally, this is the statement from Nick Khan. I wanted to inform you that Vince McMahon has tendered his resignation from his positions as TKO executive chairman and on the TKO board of directors. He will no longer have a role with TKO Group Holdings or WWE. That's it. So very to the point. It's not making any stance. It's not making any comments about the allegations or about Vince himself. It was literally just to inform everyone that Vince had left the company,
Yeah.
which I think most people probably agree is best for wrestling. I think we've talked about it many times that Vince needed to walk away from the business for a multitude of reasons. I think this just stacks into it. Not that we don't want to like know what happens, and I hope that there's the right outcome and justice is served to how it should be. However, it is gone through court, but he needs to get away from wrestling. Just please.
First time in WWE history, no member of the McMahon family is employed by WWE.
Wow, that's okay. There you go.
yeah.
That's pretty hectic to
All
think
right.
about.
Well,
Like
look,
the
as I
company
said-
that family
Let's hope
built.
Stephanie comes back.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she will. So let's just hope, as I said, I think like I've seen some memes online, and I'm going to admit there's a little part of me that's seen some of them, and there's that little part where you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. But then I also try to think of it, if I was the person filing it and I saw that, how would I feel? So just be respectful, be mindful of that, all parties involved.
I saw
etc.
some memes and I did kind of go, it's
Yeah,
a bit too soon. It's a bit of a touchy
sensitive,
subject at the
so-
moment.
But that's the dark cloud that's hanging over. As we said, we will provide links in the comments for you to check out. If you want to, again, though, seriously,
Trigger warning.
If
Yeah.
you haven't read them, be prepared. It's not a nice read.
It's not a good read.
And I will probably say what we watched today in the press conference after Royal Rumble from Triple H is going to be their stance
For a while.
for a while, especially the on-screen stance for a while. So what Triple H essentially came out and said was that, look, I don't want to focus on the negatives. There's all this other news we're going to talk about now, all the positive stuff that's happened in wrestling for the week, especially for WWE. They don't want to focus on the bad side of things. And, wrestling moves without this.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff has happened before, maybe not to this extent, but over the last 20, 30 years, there have been stories where bad things have occurred in business and in wrestling, and everybody's moved on when that's been resolved or moved past.
Yep.
The same thing will happen with this. With it being Vince McMahon, who is such an integral part of what WWE has been for the last 40 years, it will have, like we said, that dark cloud
100%.
over them for a while.
Yep.
But I think the best thing, and I mean, we kind of, the three of us got the shits a little bit at the media when Triple H made his statement, and it's pretty much just said, I want to talk about the positives, I want to ignore the negatives.
You got
made it
asked
very
one
obvious.
question about it,
And then the
and
next
then
two
the next
people
two
asked
were
the same
about it.
sort of question,
Like,
which is dumb because, I don't think you're going to get any further response from him.
Well, and that's the thing. I think I said it at the time, right? I had no problem with the initial question of it, right? Because it was the elephant in the room. Someone
absolutely.
had to take that step and go, okay, I'm going to be the one. But when it was very obvious that his response was, I'm not going to comment on it. Like, I want to focus on the positives and talk about this. That's it. I think that was, it was very obvious to the rest of the room. He's not going to comment on it. Stop asking about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't waste those questions. Talk about something else. And as I said, it's nothing wrong about asking questions as a journalist. I think it's, within their rights to ask questions, but just don't be silly if, it would be like if you were a detective in a room interviewing someone about a murder and they keep saying no comment and you keep asking and they keep saying no comment. You eventually go, is it your intention to say no comment? Oh, okay, well, we won't talk anymore.
Yeah.
So it was very annoying.
I think
Very annoying. They wasted these questions.
Yeah, it's horrible, disgusting, terrible news. You feel sorry for all the victims and anyone that's been implicated in it.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
No.
Rumors will be that they'll clear house. I guess from get rid of all the Vince guys or the Vince people backstage. But I think that realistically, that's probably something TKO would have done anyway.
Yeah, true.
I think
I think they were moving in that direction.
Well, when you look at the way that the business was set up, like Kevin Dunn going as the head of production, not related to this whatsoever, but like he left, they don't have to then hire someone new because UFC had a head of production and NXT had a head of production. Well, let's just put them in those positions.
Yeah.
So you look at the way these gigantic global businesses work, everything that WWE had, head of marketing, head of online media, head of this, head of that, UFC probably had. So you just merge them anyway.
Just merge it all together. Exactly.
So I think a lot of this from a backstage perspective is business side of stuff, which is just part of an amalgamation of what TKO is going to be anyway.
Yeah.
I think that this probably from a WWE perspective moving forward, maybe it allows Stephanie or someone else to come back into the business that left because of allegations. Maybe it allows a slight change. But like what Triple H even said and what Cody Rhodes even said in that post-match press conference is the wrestlers and stuff backstage feels like a family. This is not something that is in their locker room right now.
No.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you have to protect and make sure this doesn't occur and stuff. Like it seems like the black cancerous thing that they had to get rid of
He's gone.
is now gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
So hopefully everything will continue going forward. And I mean, it probably eliminates Vince into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I think that's 100%.
Him
Dude. I
coming
think
into
there's
WrestleMania,
no
all
doubt.
that kind of stuff. Like that should now be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think,
However this goes, however this finishes, whatever through the court process, I think he's done.
yeah, I agree.
I think he's done. Like no matter what you say in terms of whether or not he's found guilty or whatever, like it.
The allegations are too much.
Yeah. So.
Too much to look past this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that we'll leave it at that. As I said, we'll supply some links in the comments for you if you wish to check it out. But in terms of
But there's definitely better places than us to do research.
100%,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
not legal experts, so we won't dwell on that anymore.
We're
But
just lowly little podcasts from Australia.
in terms of positions, The Rock,
Yeah.
he is he at the head of the table? I know he's at least at the table.
He's on the table
the
now.
executive
He's
table.
on the table.
Maybe that was the table he was talking about. Considering that, he didn't turn up and go in the Rumble,
Yeah. Spoilers.
which we
True.
thought he was. Well, they should have watched the Rumble by now, mate. This video's coming
Well,
out after
you
after the
don't
Rumble
know
one.
what people are doing in their personal
Well, if
lives.
they haven't watched it by now, too
If
bad.
there's one match you have to watch live, it's the Royal Rumble.
Correct. You have to. You have to. But yeah, he's now on the executive board. They've hired him in there. I think it's obviously a positive move. I'm
Yeah, it's a
sure.
great
I'm
move.
sure it probably does slightly tie in, but we won't dwell on it in some of the other stuff we were talking about before. There's probably reasons behind that because obviously he's such a loved personality, celebrity. But as has been said as well, and I think Triple H did mention this in his press conference about the Royal Rumble.
He's a brilliant businessman.
He's got so much experience now, like all the different businesses and stuff he's been running for.
Brought
like,
back the XFL. It's now merged with the UFL.
Terramana's the biggest tequila company in the world.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
It's crazy.
man. That's
Like,
crazy. And
he's got
also
$7
one of the
production
biggest
as well.
Movie stars, like he's absolutely
He's
killing it.
everywhere.
And I think the key point too that I think Triple H made in his presser was he's really glad to have someone like The Rock on the board that he can call that understands what he's talking about from a wrestling perspective. Sometimes, I guess, from Triple H's perspective, he might be saying, look, I want to book Cody Rhodes to finish his story, but the bigger thing might be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You say that to a chairman of the board or someone, 65-year-old businessman that doesn't really follow WWE, they're going to be like, well, what makes the most money?
Yeah.
What's the best business decision? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
Asking that same question to The Rock will get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He'll understand the audience. He'll understand how that. Not
Well,
only works-
he's going to be that link
Correct.
between the executives and because he's a wrestler, man.
and that's
He
why
used to
Triple H
wrestle,
is so
right?
good because Triple H is that link right now.
Yeah.
Now he's got another soundboard to bounce off to ask those
Well,
questions.
I think the term he used, right, was shorthand. He and I can speak shorthand
Yes.
because obviously, executives, they normally talk in words that I wouldn't even no. Rock has obviously been working in those situations now for a while, and he can talk the executive talk, but he also knows how to talk to wrestlers at that level as well. So I think it only can create positives for the business overall. But it's interesting to see if that means that he will have more of a screen presence, or is he going to leave it mainly to the back of house? Very interesting to see.
Well, I mean, like we said, people have watched the Royal Rumble, so they know Cody's won it. Called out Roman to finish his story at WrestleMania. Does that mean that The Rock now doesn't get involved short term, although he said that head of the table thing? Or does Rock now look at this as, well, do I take the head of the table after Cody's taken the title? Like, does Rock understand that, wants to do the long-term planning, book it for SummerSlam, WrestleMania next year?
Does he put his seat on the executive table on the line in a match with Roman?
There's only so much kayfabe, I believe.
Oh, dude, do you not remember that Stone Cold when he became CEO for a week and they filmed him at WWE headquarters? Surely you could do the same with Roman. It'd be classic. It'd be classic.
But
Good
I
times,
think-
man. Good times.
I think that he'll probably have more input into his story, and if he's part of the board, helping make, like, now every decision The Rock wants to make on screen impacts their profits, which now impacts his pockets because he's on the board.
True.
So I think it works both ways.
Yeah.
And I think there was a statement that Cody had said, maybe he was talking to ESPN or somebody, where he had a chat with The Rock when The Rock came backstage when he was in January.
Yeah.
Cody said The Rock's not the kind of person to come and stop a story that's 2 years involved.
Yeah.
He won't. He's not the kind of person to come
Yeah,
in and
right.
get involved in that. So
Interesting.
I think that the smart booking is that they make this longer
Yeah,
with The
okay.
Rock.
Confrontation it'll be the SmackDown after WrestleMania, after Roman's lost to Cody.
I might even be a little bit after that
before
too, because he likes to take time off after WrestleMania, so it might be a little
Well,
bit
have him
more
appear
again.
and have them do what they did with Rock and Cena.
Yeah, call it out.
1 year in advance. Call it out. Build it up for that whole calendar year.
He might even be like, they might be projecting 2-3 years down the track with him making that comment.
Yeah,
like now that
maybe.
he's on the board,
Or
they might
maybe
not want him to
it's just a
wrestle.
passing comment and nothing ever eventuates.
Exactly. You never know. It could have
We've had so many
casting
teasers
doubt.
from The Rock to come back and have some matches.
Yeah.
I remember WrestleMania 31 having the face-off with Triple H. They teased it at the SmackDown 20th anniversary show again.
Yep.
Nothing ever eventuated there.
That's true. That's true.
So you never know.
And then in other news,
I think this is the biggest news.
which one are you talking about?
Netflix.
Oh, I wasn't getting to that yet. I was going to
whoops.
end on that, man, because that's massive news. But we'll talk about it now.
Okay.
So
That's all
they've
we've
made
got
a
is
deal.
this stuff.
They've made a deal with Netflix, Raw specifically, and then all other content for everywhere outside of America, so
Yes.
including us, will have pretty much the WWE Network content.
Yep.
But Raw itself will show on Netflix. It's a 10-year deal starting from January 2025.
5 billion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
$5 billion
$500 million a
US
year.
dollars.
So it's currently a 10-year deal, but it could be a 5-year deal or it could be a 20-year deal.
Yeah.
The clauses are in there for Netflix to shorten it or lengthen it depending on how it goes.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll lengthen, man.
No.
surely.
It's gonna go ballistic.
Surely.
Biggest thing, no freaking ad breaks on Netflix for Raw.
Yeah, for Raw.
Dude,
Mate.
So
I didn't even think of that.
No,
That's
they've already come
amazing.
out and said there's not going to be any
that would be
ads
so good.
on Raw.
That would be so good. Oh,
and
dude, I've
it's
just
gonna-
gotten so more
Nick
excited
Khan
about
also
it.
did say it's going to stay a 3-hour show too.
So they just have more content. I mean, they've got the wrestlers to do it.
We'll
We've
just
seen it.
have picture-in-picture, but we'll actually
Yeah,
watch
get
it.
to watch it. Yeah.
Oh, man. And I have to be honest. I'm sorry to say this, but Binge, your service is terrible. So I'm
why
looking
he's
forward.
KO.
Well, look, put it this way, man. We watch
Hey,
Binge and it always just
KO's not that great
crashes. Look up Binge's rating on Google ratings if you want to question what I'm
Every
saying.
time I try and watch AEW, KO craps out on me.
Yeah,
Because
so
they're the same
connection
company,
cuts
too.
Mine did it
all
this
the
week on
time.
Dynamite.
And I'm sick of it. I'm done. I
the same
said on
company
the
as
Royal
Binge.
Rumble review,
Nah, you've
I'm a
got-
changed man. I'm tuning into TNA from now on.
Pro
man.
tip:
Dan
you have
can
to
be
watch it
AEW
twice.
man.
So I started watching Dynamite this week, and Samoa Joe was cutting his promo, and then he kept talking, but the picture was like into a match, and like it did fast forward and everything. I was like, "What's going on?" I went back, started again, perfect the second time.
Right,
So
okay.
always.
No, but mine never does that.
Oh,
It
mine
just
always
cuts
shits
out.
out. No,
It says, error, can't play. So I have to go out, go back in, fast forward to where I was, and it's just...
Well, okay.
I have to
It's
do
good
that
news
like
for
5
everybody then.
times every time I watch Dynamite. Hate it.
Netflix
I'm done.
2025.
We have it. Yes. Oh, that's my
Oh, here we go.
Mummy's always
Say hi
on
to
top.
Lockie, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Lockie. He's awesome. Nice shirt, bro. Michael Jordan.
I've been called much
worse.
worse
Yeah, that's a
things.
compliment.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome news, obviously. It's going to Netflix. I think everyone's happy. I'm even happier now you've said that about no
Yeah,
ads.
no ads.
The only thing is, and they haven't announced what they're going to do yet, is that their contract with Peacock.
There's about 3 months where they're not going to
October.
But I
have.
don't know if that means it's going to affect us for Binge and KO, though, or if we're going to go all the way to January. It might only affect them in the US.
What I've heard, they're also like WWE Network is going to be decommissioned
Yes, they're getting
at the
rid
end
of
of
it. Yeah,
2025, I
completely.
think.
Yes, and moved to Netflix.
Yeah, they're getting rid of it.
So,
So
they're-
SmackDown's going to USA Network?
Yep.
Is that
SmackDown
right?
at USA, NXT is going to the
CW.
CW Network.
But obviously, we will get SmackDown on Netflix because we're outside of the US. So
Correct.
that's
Yeah,
where we
that's-
get the whole
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
means
the
I don't have to
interesting
have
part
KO.
too. Is like what Triple H said as well in his press conferences around how everything's moving to streaming. The rest of the world, like us in Australia, essentially, like we don't. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't watch TV anymore, like Channel 7, 9, 10, etc.
It's rubbish. It's rubbish.
I stream pretty much everything I watch. All the sport is streamed through KO and stuff. So this isn't a big change for how I digest this product, right?
Yeah.
In the US, though, I think they're so used to TV, cable TV, that a lot of them sit down at 8 o'clock on a Monday night and watch Raw. So that'll be a change to how that's run from within the US.
Yeah.
And you look at it in comparison, because like what Triple H had said was this is a massive change to not just sports entertainment, but sports and entertainment.
Yes.
Because you look at the NFL, because I'm an NFL fan, they, for the first time this year, put a playoff NFL game solely on streaming.
Yeah, wow.
So the Kansas City Chiefs versus Miami Dolphins game solely on Peacock.
Yeah.
And everyone's
How did
like,
that go?
no one's going to want to watch that. It's all streamable. 25 million people watch that game.
100%. And you know what? There is a massive market for this because this is one of the problems. And I think Australia, I don't know, in other countries, I don't think they suffer from this as much. But
I think we
goddamn,
really do
I am
suffer.
sick and tired of every sport streaming on different platforms. And it's why we're seeing,
Yeah.
number one, for anyone who's familiar with Australian sport, the death of rugby union.
Australia, it's on Stan Sport.
Number one, right? Because it's on
what?
Stan.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cricket, right? Cricket's starting to not. It's dying off, especially Test cricket. We only get to see the local stuff on free to air.
You're saying it's dying off 'cause we
Anything
just
else you
lost
have to
the West
watch, you got to
Indies?
watch through KO sometimes on other stuff. Like it's
KO is becoming a
all
bit of
over
a powerhouse on that front, though. They've got absolutely
It is
everything.
Fox,
They've
yeah.
got NFL, they've got basketball, they've got NHL.
But and I think this is the point that Triple H is making, right? If Netflix get on here and go, oh my god, look how many people follow. What other sports will they pick up? Because if they pick up the sports that KO are showing, yeah,
And when you think about it as well, think about how many people already have this streaming service, Netflix, that aren't into wrestling, who might stumble upon it,
check
and
it
then
out. Well, it's a drama
you're growing
show,
your
right?
fan base there as well.
It's a drama show.
Yeah, and that's
With
what
the-
people
with the
don't
wrestling.
really realize. This is what happens when wrestling fans argue with people who don't like wrestling. It's like,
They've never
well, you
watched
watch a TV show, like it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just
You know, Bridgerton's not real, right?
Yeah,
You know it's
like-
not real. Like, of course
yes, we know it's not
Hey,
real.
wait,
We know
tell me
it's
there's
scripted.
not real dragons in Game of Thrones?
What? Come on, come on.
Anyway,
just
look,
think logically.
It's super exciting.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I still have my Netflix account, but no, I'm not sharing your passwords.
I've got
don't
one too.
again now.
I think this is like of the news we're talking about. This is the most important.
It's pretty
long
big.
term.
It's pretty big.
This is going to be gigantic, especially the fact
Yeah.
that it's everywhere outside of the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all going to Netflix. So yeah, like you said, the whole streaming service fee. I was watching a Wrestle Talk podcast with Tempest, who's a Canadian.
Yeah.
WWE has been on their whatever TV1 channel for 35 years.
Wow.
Like since the early 90s, since he was born, it has been at the same channel every Friday and Monday nights. You watch wrestling. This will be the first time in something like 40 years that they are not going to be on TV in those countries.
Yeah.
Like that is a big deal.
But isn't that crazy? Because like for us here in Australia, thinking about watching WWE on TV, that hasn't been a thing since
No.
the late 2000s, really.
Well, when it's on Foxtel,
Early
Fox 8.
2010s, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
on
cable.
Foxtel.
But yeah,
and-
that's essentially cable for us Australians here.
Yeah.
Since then, when they brought up the WWE network, that was the main way to watch it in Australia. Like that was the only.
Oh,
way
I
to
know.
watch
As soon as they brought it out here, I subbed straight away.
Yeah, 100%. We all did, man. I was definitely. I mean, it was such a great deal, right? It was $9.99 US.
Yeah.
For
So
everything.
it was like
everything.
12,
A month.
$13 here.
Yeah.
You get. Didn't have Raw and SmackDown live, which I was always really annoyed about. But I had
No,
them
it didn't.
delayed.
Yeah, that's true.
But you got
Yes.
every pay per view every month for that. You got all the documentary shows. You
So
got all the
that's-
backstage
that's
stuff
my
as well.
question: is what do you do with PLEs moving forward? Is
No,
there
they're included. They've already said.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
it's
PLEs are on
similar
Netflix
to
as
the
well.
deal they have now with Peacock with Binge and everything,
Yeah.
all included.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's not going to be like a $5 WWE bundle you have to buy on Netflix to get it all.
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, that'd be good.
No,
Like,
because I think they realize that if they do something like that, that will be more of a negative than just putting it on there. It might be that once
You don't
they
wanna monetize
establish
it
a
any
relationship,
further.
they might have to, depending. But I think it's good for both parties because I know Netflix, their subscriptions had dropped off, and I think something like WWE going on there.
I think that also dropped off because of the whole cracking down on password sharing.
Yeah, which I mean, most places are going to do that.
So-
anyway,
Yeah,
man.
it's all going that way. Disney Channel's going that way. Like,
my next question.
Yep.
We've had a Mountain Dew pitch black match. We've had the Slim Jim Battle Royale. Who's winning the Stranger Things Elimination Chamber cage tower chair match? Surely they're doing something.
Rhea Ripley.
Stranger Things or what else will they do on Netflix?
I'm sure they'll have a bunch of like crossovers.
It's a little bit late on, but I'd love to see Joe Exotic when he gets out of jail
Tiger King?
in a hell in a cell with the tigers, and the tigers are like there's two cages, and outside the first
But-
cage is the tigers.
But they're little robotic tigers that blow up very poorly.
There's so much we could have many crossovers.
Oh man, so great. Moving on.
Logan Paul.
Yep.
Has re-signed with
Yes.
the WWE. How long's the contract? Do we know? Is it long-term?
I didn't hear that. I'd say 3 to 5 years.
I just
It
heard
seems
that it
about
was
pretty
full-time.
standard.
full time,
Yeah,
which is huge.
full-time.
I think Logan's statement was, now I'm not going to take this as a hobby.
Yeah, he's taking it as a proper
And I
job. So
mean,
we're going to see a
to be
lot more on
fair-
Logan
After
Paul.
seeing his performance at the Royal Rumble, fair enough, man.
After seeing
Wrestle
all of his
full-time, bro.
performances, like
If
I'm
his matches
firmly behind this
last year
guy.
were him doing it as a hobby,
Yeah, exactly.
It's
I
gonna
can't.
be real
I
cool.
can't
Dude,
wait
he's
to
a,
see.
he's
what
a
to see.
future world champion. I'm putting it out there now.
Yeah, probably.
He is. If he sticks with it,
Look,
he
as much
100%
as you
will.
might hate Logan Paul for his past, and he's gone into it several times on his podcast. Like, I actually tuned in to watch the Impulsive podcast he did with John Cena this
Yeah,
week.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They
he did a
did
good one with Randy too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's done.
That
He's
one was
Rey
really-
Mysterio, Randy,
Triple H. He's
Triple
had.
H he's
He's
had.
had Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
He's had Roman Reigns. Like, they're all really good podcasts as well. And when he was talking to John, he talked about the fact of like what happened in Japan and how that affected everything. So
Yeah.
he's from that sort of perception, like he seemed really remorseful from what happened, and he was being very.
Oh, he's
upfront.
definitely learned from that. He's changed.
Oh, 100%. Like, especially being.
and John Cena should be a counselor.
Oh, man.
Far out, man. He's so level-headed. I hate him for how nice of a guy he is. You know what I mean? Like, my goddamn, John, you're too perfect of a person. Go check out that interview. Actually, it's quite good. If you don't like John Cena, you'll like him now. I mean, I don't know how you
Whatever
couldn't like
you
him,
think
but-
about Logan Paul, just put it to the side.
Yeah.
He's not so
Check it
bad.
out.
Because I used to think the same thing. I have checked.
He's burning in the ring.
Full time. I'm excited for that. I mean,
That's a
again,
good
after
prospect.
the matches he's had, him and Kevin are cooking, and it's not over yet. It's still going.
No
so.
DQ match at Elimination Chamber. We're calling it.
Book it in,
And then
Eddie.
after that, last man standing,
At
10
WrestleMania.
seconds.
It's gonna be
Yeah, I would be happy for them to put
Best of
LA
3
Knight on the back
series.
burner for a little bit. Have KO versus Logan Paul, last man standing at Mania.
versus AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm down with that.
We'll stick with WWE, and then we'll jump on over to other stuff. But 2K24.
Yep.
Has it been released yet, or when's the release date?
March
Soon.
5th, I believe, is
March 5th,
released,
okay.
the release date.
And we've actually got 4 different covers, I believe.
3 different colors.
3 covers. So
Yep.
Cody Rhodes is on the original.
Yep. The standard edition.
And then we've got 2 versions, one with Bianca, one with Rhea.
It's half Bianca, half Rhea on the
no,
deluxe.
they've
they're
stated
separate.
they're separate.
I thought it was
That's
like
that's
the
why
pictures
it's-
they showed
no,
was
that's
like-
why
The
it's
picture they
4.
showed was both of them, but they've
Yeah.
since come out and said
They'll be
there are
separate.
2 separate covers.
You can either get
either of
Bianca
those
or Rhea.
superstars.
Okay.
Which is
And
pretty
then there
happy.
was another one. There was like a...
the road to WrestleMania.
yeah.
the
yeah.
WrestleMania
So
Legends.
there's 4 different ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if they can actually track, I don't think they will, which ones, how many are sold with Bianca's face and how many are
Yeah.
sold with Rhea.
I love the way. Did you watch the backstage video they had with the superstars for this?
Yeah, I did,
They told him it was
actually.
just a random photo shoot.
It's a photo shoot for promo shot for something for
of a holiday tour or some
yeah.
shit. And then
they're
they
like,
sprung
"Alright."
on him.
And then they're like, oh, by the way, this is for
2K24, you're all cover
2K24.
stars.
Like Rhea and Bianca just started crying. Like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
Brilliant.
And
That's
Cody
so
was just
awesome.
like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's
Cody's the
awesome.
face of the company, man. He's doing everything, right?
he's
He's in
not.
every ad.
How dare you insult our tribal chief like that?
I will. Because his reign,
Give it
Roman Reigns, is
3
coming to an
months
end.
until he's no longer.
got to keep it in shot. Acknowledging the tribal
So then, this is, I guess, still technically WWE news,
Yeah.
because we assume this person is on the
Chong
way
Chong
to
China.
WWE. Okada
Sorry.
from New Japan has left New Japan. Okada.
Is it Okada?
He is Gonski's.
Contract technically expires in 3 days.
So he didn't show up at the Rumble.
But he does have 2 or 3 more shows for New Japan that he's already
I just
signed
watched
with.
him on TNA this week.
I did, yeah, I saw that match too.
Yep. So do you
okay.
think now that will be? Do you think his first feud? If he's gone to WWE. I think that's pretty obvious.
Don't say Shinsuke.
Don't say Shinsuke. That's racist.
Why not?
It's not
Why not?
racist.
What's
but
wrong
it's-
with that?
Oh, because they're friends. I think that's the boring. If you're boring and you want to pick a very generic, who do we give Okada first? It's like Shinsuke.
No, but I don't know if it's being boring because obviously the other thing is as well, and they've talked about this a lot, right? Because them trying to get him over, he's more comfortable speaking his native tongue, right? Which is no problem. That's fine. So
Yes.
there could be the potential for a bit harder, depending on who he's wrestling in terms of language barrier in the ring. If you put him with Shinsuke, he comes out because you obviously don't
It's a
want him
proper
to come
Japanese
over,
strong style as well.
correct? And you don't want him to come over because you know what it's like, man. You know what, we're wrestling fans, right? If someone makes the tiniest little mistake in the ring, we go, "Oh, mistake!"
IWC is going to pick it apart.
Whereas if you put him with Shinsuke, they speak each other's language, they understand each other better. They can put on a banger of a match, and everyone goes. Because let's be honest, there's probably a lot of people that follow WWE that don't know who Okada is,
Yeah.
and they're not going to. They might know the name, but they don't know his
Rainmaker.
history. He needs to come in and have a banger of a match, so people go, "Oh, I like this guy."
I think his first feud should be against either AJ Styles or Finn Balor.
Oh, because they've wrestled over there a lot.
Tie
Yeah,
back
true,
into
true.
Bullet Club
Yep.
stuff, tie back into New Japan.
Yep.
They know the strong style, like you said.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives him that different thing. I'm okay with being Shinsuke.
Yeah.
Do I actually think he goes to WWE? I don't know. It sounds like Tony Khan and AEW are pretty confident he falls with
Yeah.
them. I don't know how well that will go because I think looking at the end of his New Japan run, he seemed bored.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he just didn't care with his matches. Like he wasn't putting in the same effort. And I feel like him saying that he wanted a new challenge was why he left New Japan.
Yeah.
I don't think AEW is a new challenge. I think it's the same.
No.
thing.
it's the same style. Yeah.
And
It's
it's
against-
just going to be the same old shtick whenever AEW gets someone in like that as well. Like,
But what have they done with Takeshita? Like he was one of the best wrestlers in New Japan.
Yeah, and
he's come over in the Don Callis thing, and they've done nothing with him.
Yeah, well, because when he came over, they kept chucking him in those multi-man matches. I mean, when he came over, it should have been him and Kenny Omega one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's what it should have
They
been.
got it eventually,
They deserve.
but-
I know, but it took forever. It should have just been that to
Yeah.
begin with, and we could have seen how good he was. And people like me who didn't really know who Takeshita was would go, "Damn, that guy's good. I'm going to watch more of his matches." But they did it the wrong way around.
I'd love to see him show up at WrestleMania at an
Yeah.
open challenge,
Or even the
something.
Raw after Mania or something like
Yeah,
that. Maybe.
I reckon he would. A spot for him at WrestleMania would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But whether or not he signs is a different story.
yeah,
Look,
that's another
the
question.
Japanese wrestlers, especially the female wrestlers, are thriving in WWE right now.
Yeah.
So maybe it's probably the best time than ever.
Reece said like he just had a match on TNA in a 6-man against.
Which is the first time he's wrestled on TNA in I think like 8 to 10 years because he initially had some dealings with TNA while he was still in New Japan.
Last year for a show. I thought he was on there
Might have
last
been,
year.
but I remember because they actually mentioned it on the broadcast, which I thought was really interesting. The previous time that Okada worked there, like I think it was like mid 2000s or something,
Yeah,
was really bad business, and he was openly trashing Impact
yeah, okay.
through the media outlets
Yeah.
about how bad the business was done.
Yep.
So it was really special occasion for him to go back now that it's been rebranded as TNA.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was a little thing after the show as well, which wasn't televised, but like he said thank you to the TNA fans. It was an absolute honor for him to be at that show. So
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like it might be kind of foreshadowing because like the way that he's getting emotional at the end of these shows, whether it be New Japan, TNA or whatever, it seems like he's going to be moving somewhere where that's not really going to be much of a possibility
gonna have that
anymore.
opportunity,
So
yeah.
it kind of feels like WWE's the only option in a way.
And
Well, the fact that he's turned up on TNA, and we've already seen, if you haven't watched our Royal Rumble video, but I'm sure you've already
That's
seen it
true,
by
that's
now,
a good point.
is we've already seen that TNA and WWE are more than happy to have these partnerships now.
Yeah.
That we've seen TNA wrestlers 2 years in a row wrestling in
Royal
the Women's Royal Rumble.
I thought Mickey James was 2 years ago.
Was it?
I don't know.
No, I think it was last year.
I thought it was last year too. But anyway,
was the knockout
we've seen
champion
it's,
last year.
it's happening, right? It's happening a lot.
Hardcore country.
So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe, for example, they've gone, go and wrestle at TNA before you turn up here. That's
Yeah.
fine. Like,
And I mean,
yeah,
like we're not going to like dissect all the shows that have happened, like Dynamites and whatnot. But there was the match last week on Dynamite with Minoru Suzuki against Adam Copeland.
yeah,
Suzuki is 55. He's a former like MMA champion, New Japan champion. Like he's been around
Yeah.
for a long period of time. He got booked in a match against Adam Copeland on 4 days' notice as the main event. Like,
What are you doing?
Where's the
why would
build-up
you
for
do
that?
that?
Where's the build-up?
If you're someone like Okada, that you're going to try and book, you want a career. It's not even the end of his career. He's not that old.
No.
But like, you want this phase of your career to be dream matches and dream storylines. You go to AEW, Tony Khan's just going to book you on Rampage versus Jeff Hardy for no reason.
Yeah, because
Did
they
you
want
see
to
he
get
finally
off
had a
Rampage.
Dynamite match after
Yeah, he lost to
complaining?
Swerve.
Yeah,
Is
well,
that, you know what? Not a bad match. Anyway, like, I don't think the way AEW books the, like, people that don't have a storyline, and I think AEW at the moment have a few storylines going, but that's about it.
And then they have
everything
just
else is just
random
here, have a
matches.
match, here, have a match,
Yeah.
here, have a match. Which is why I think the C2, the tournament, worked so well, because
Yeah.
it was here, have a match, here, have a match, with a story, like an overline story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have a match to earn points.
Correct.
To get a title
Whereas
shot.
WWE,
It all made sense.
you're not just going to get Jey Uso booked versus Drew McIntyre for no reason, and then you get next week you're going to have Jey Uso versus Shinsuke for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, they put a story to everything.
Yeah.
And I think someone like Okada that's had that career in New Japan with such hardstyle matches, it's so tense, so difficult on their bodies for all the wrestling they do, maybe going to WWE, having some stories, building to a match is what he wants to do.
yeah,
rather than-
100%. You got to have the stories.
Yeah.
And you just touched on it, actually, in terms of rankings. AEW brought back
Yes.
a ranking system.
Yes. Which supposedly the rumor goes CM Punk told them to get rid of. So Tony Khan wanted it, CM Punk said,
Yeah,
can't get
right.
rid of it. And CM Punk left.
Yeah, but that's obviously now because we can see that CM Punk is definitely more of a WWE wrestler than he was an AEW style wrestler, because he's all about the stories,
Yes.
right? He's about the story behind it, and he looks at it and goes, rankings. Well, let's go out there and do a promo, man, and make people feel about this. So I don't mind this ranking stuff because, I mean, the Continental Classic, like the way they set all that
That was
together.
good, yeah.
I think it is a point of difference with WWE because you need to have some point of difference. I know we talk about the fact that we need more stories, but you probably still need to offer a slightly different product, and this offers that.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
Okay,
I don't really see a problem with it, really. I think it probably would make me more interested in it, as long as they do run it correctly,
Yeah.
I guess is the main thing. Because it's one thing to do rankings, but if you do like a WCW in the 90s where it's like Goldberg has wrestled 170 matches to nil and he's really wrestled 30. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of how AEW justify someone like Hook getting a title shot.
yeah.
Is he was 27-2. You're like, well, he probably deserves a title shot then.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you rule out your Danny Garcia, who's had, 23 matches for 16 wins and 7 losses. Like, oh, that's not quite
Yeah.
championship sort of material. So I think it works in that sense.
But you still
then-
got to have story behind it, as you said,
I
because
agree,
Hook,
yeah.
Hook and Samoa Joe, everyone's like, okay.
So you wouldn't have seen Dynamite this week. Samoa Joe came out, cut a promo, essentially saying, "I'm the champion. Things are different now." Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Hooks came out again, and because he lost to him last week, just said to him, "I don't know when, I don't know where, but I'm still coming for you."
Okay.
He walked off.
Interesting.
You're like, why? Like, why is Hook still coming for you? You lost.
He lost clean.
Yeah.
He got dominated in that match and he
Yeah.
lost clean. Like,
That's my problem with AEW. It's just like
that's
some of the
AEW,
storytelling.
man. It's WCW 2.0.
But sticking with AEW and talking about returns and signings, etc., obviously Sasha Banks didn't turn up
Mercedes Moné.
at the Royal Rumble.
Which kind of
And
leads us to
WWE.
believe AEW bound, like initially rumored.
Well, the thing that was released online by WWE was we don't believe in breaching contract. Sorry, that's my stomach. I don't know why. That's really loud. I don't know if they got picked
I
up
thought
on the
that was your phone
microphone.
vibrating.
No, that was my stomach, man. Even after all that nice chicken you bought us, Reece. But they said that they're not interested
out
in
of pocket for that. Jesus. Oh, it's good chicken though.
It was. They said that they don't want to breach contract negotiations, etc. So I think they literally gave off the hint of she's already under contract and we don't want to breach any of the contract that she's under. So yeah, it looks like she's AEW bound. I'm
surprised they haven't debuted her yet.
Or not, but
Maybe they're waiting for.
Maybe they were
All
waiting
out,
for the
all
Royal
in.
Rumble. Maybe they wanted the rumor mill to keep spinning
Yeah.
that she was going to go to the Royal Rumble, and then when they sign her, everyone's like, "Oh, she didn't go to the Rumble. She's with us." Like, look at the big win we got over WWE.
Just wait for a post on Twitter this week from Tony Khan. Major announcement coming on Dynamite this week. Mercedes Moné.
and that major announcement will be that he has an announcement next week.
You guys got any other news?
That's the list of news I got.
You got anything else?
No,
I got something I want to mention.
Yeah. It's not that LA Knight got married again, is it?
No, this is
do we wanna-
this
before
is
we-
credited.
Before we go to, because this is local stuff, right?
World Series Wrestling.
Semi-local,
Yeah.
Do we want to just quickly touch on a couple of things from TV that we've seen in the last couple of weeks? Like, I think the main point, I've already shat on AEW enough. I'm not going to go into that anymore. But the WWE stuff specifically, we probably want to touch on that led to the Royal Rumble, the Punk and Cody promo.
Absolute magic.
Yeah.
People saying that was the best promo for the last 10 years. Is that too high of praise for what that was?
No,
It was good. It was
Well,
good. I don't know if it's been the best in the
it's
last 10
definitely
years.
up there.
Because we also haven't talked about Seth Rollins' injury and his promo either.
I have very sour grapes about that, so I don't want to comment.
That did it.
Good, he hindered the gender.
I saw it coming. I'm not going to lie. I know it's going to sound like, oh, Ted knows everything. No, I seriously thought with the way they're selling it, I'm like, he's going to come out and they're going to make it seem like he's going to vacate the title. I can't thing, but they've been pushing him as this fighting champion that will go down fighting. That, you know, he's not going to vacate the title. He will
He's already
lose
done
the
it once
title
in the
ring
past,
at
so.
some point.
Well, not when Roman wrestles 4 times a year.
Nah.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like once it happened, it was kind of like you think about it, and like with the way that Roman's presented, he's only there. Like last year, wrestled 11 matches.
Yeah.
If Roman can do it, why not just let Seth recover for a couple of months so he's fit
And
for
it's
WrestleMania?
like
It makes sense. Like
like
as much
4 to
as we
6
wanted
weeks.
his reign
Yeah.
done and something new, because we're not that fond of this character that he's doing at the moment,
before
the
he
way he's being
loses,
presented.
Then,
Look,
But yeah.
I think Sam Punk and Cody was good. Don't get me wrong. 100% it was good. And I think what we might see potentially in 2 days' time or a day and a half from now,
The next Raw,
I
yeah.
think that one will probably be even better because there's going to be more emotion behind it. Because
Yeah.
as I said on the other review that we did about Royal Rumble, I think there's going to be some backing of Cody by CM Punk. But I mean, I think back more to Heyman and Cody, the one we
Yep.
had before WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
That one sticks with me. Sammy has had a lot of great promos. I think if I had to pick in terms of best promo person for if we'd had that category for 2023, I would have picked Sami Zayn because when he goes out there and he just, you feel it, right?
passion he has.
Yeah. Drew McIntyre's been up there, but I do feel that his promos have been a little bit repetitive over the last few months. Like it hasn't really, we've sort of heard the same thing. So I guess, look, it's up there. I wouldn't say it's the greatest in 10 years. I think that's a bit of a call.
It's definitely a highlight, though. Like,
Yeah.
he
Such a good promo.
really built that Royal
Oh,
Rumble finish.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone expected them. I mean, when they faced off, I think everyone thought it was just going to be buddy-buddy.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. Good luck to me. Let's all be friends. And the way it ended, I think, you know,
Very, very good.
oh, it was tense.
So
it
good.
was tense, man.
But it's like someone asked Triple H the question in the presser as well. You've got such a stacked main event scene. You've got such a full roster. You looked at the 2 full Rumbles, like we mentioned in our Royal Rumble review the other day. There was no filler.
No.
There was no legends. There was no Hall of Famers that had to come in
X-Pac.
to do a spot. There was no X-Pac. So they had 30 wrestlers in each Royal Rumble
Yeah.
that's filling the roster up.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? And you look at this, you look at the Raw scene. You've got Jay, Drew, Sammy, Cody, Seth, Punk,
Yeah.
all right at the top. And then Roman was in a fatal 4-way.
Yeah.
That's 4 people in the main event scene in
Yeah.
one match. Like, they are spoiled for choice right now at the top of the
Yeah.
card.
The amount of people that weren't in the match, really, now that we think about it,
Yeah.
astounds me. That you know, that weren't there, like they were in those other matches that could more than easily have been in the Rumble and been legit favorites to win.
Yeah.
And they weren't even in the match. Like that, you're spot on, man. It blows my mind. Like,
So I think-
and I think they're trying to move away because obviously I think this is a transition where we've all been so used to the Rumble where we're like, we want that pop. Oh, Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake, whoever, you know, they turn up, and I think they're trying to move away from that and go, no, this is how people
pop.
propel their career. Not about nostalgia. It's about this is up and comers. This is how they get their shot.
So I just
this
wanna-
is their moment.
I want to read a comment from Triple H from that presser, where one of the people in the press asked him, a couple of people asked him, is this better than the Attitude Era? Like the current wrestling scene, is it better than the Attitude
He
Era?
did make a good comment about this actually.
Yeah, where he said that I was in the Attitude Era and some of it sucked. He was right.
And I think he was involved in a lot of the sucky stuff, let's be honest.
Katie Vick.
Ditto, yes.
Oh man.
Yes, Dan, please.
So his quote, it's not a new WWE. If I say that, it negates the past. People love the history of what we do. This is a new chapter, for sure. It's a fresh start. When you have that, you have the benefit of seeing the past. The reason that I'm here is because I love this. I want to make it better than it's ever been.
There you go.
All faith in Papa H.
Yeah.
All fake.
But I think, he actually is quite a humble person. And I know he has not been accused of that in the past. He's been accused of being a bit different to that. But I think being top of the card as a wrestler, you have to be a little bit arrogant and assured of yourself. But I think he's got a point, right? We you always say, oh, is this the best it's ever been? When the Attitude Era was on, no one was sitting there going, this is the best wrestling has ever been. Yeah. It was more afterwards when we went into other aspects that people went, oh, the Attitude Era was actually pretty
The
good.
nostalgia classes.
Yeah, until you get past an era, I think it's really hard to say whether or not it's the best you've ever seen. Like, you've really got to get through it into another one before you can really say, hey, that was cooking. Like, that was good. I mean, I have to admit, I do think they are doing well. I don't see it as a bad era. Whether or not it's better, I mean, we still talk about this. There's some really sucky stuff that happens still, right? As you said, not every storyline's going to work. Not every storyline's going to get over.
Carrying Cross.
Yeah, well, we've
Final
talked about that quite a bit. But what was your other news you had,
Right.
Reece?
Not really new. Oh, I guess it is news. World Series Wrestling.
Yes.
We have tickets acquired for the Sydney show.
And this
Had
time's
some
in
act-
other news too that we haven't really talked on. So
Yeah, we have absolutely stellar announcement from wrestlers coming over.
Yeah.
First announcement, Matt Cardona.
Yep.
We
Great.
then had
the indie god.
the indie god, Matt Cardona. We then
Probably
had
currently retaining his Chris Jericho Cruise championship on the Chris Jericho Cruise, which I
Probably.
believe you went on once, Ted.
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
Can't comment. Can't comment.
Can't comment on that.
We then had Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, Elijah, formerly known as Elias,
And Ezekiel.
and Ezekiel. Yes.
Actually, no, that
can't
was his
forget that
brother, wasn't it?
iconic character. We also have Brian Cage, and a recent announcement, it's part of the women's roster that's going to be attending. Ash by Elegance now, she's in TNA, formerly known as Dana Brooke.
That's awesome.
Absolutely stacked card so
And that's
far.
in June?
June.
June 30, we're going.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Make sure
June
your
30th.
taxes are ready to go
We're going
next
to Sydney
day.
show.
Mate, if you're an Australian, jump on tickets straight away. I think they've got less than 50 available for Sydney and Melbourne, with Adelaide and Brisbane. I think they're close to above 80% sold already. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
absolutely stacked card. If you can get to any of the shows, do it.
We're
Won't
going.
regret it.
We're going.
We're going.
Yeah.
And we will do
It's
a
gonna be an
recap, a
absolute
report.
blast.
We might even try and do some on-site filming.
Maybe.
We'll see how we go. We've got to try it in
On
Perth
live
first.
podcast. I've got to buy those microphones.
But then talking about local,
We're going to EPW, Eastern Professional Wrestling, I think they're called.
Eastern Pro Wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, Pro
before
Wrestling.
the
The night before
Elimination Chamber.
which is going to be fantastic. We've already had a bunch of Slam talent get announced for it.
Yep.
We've got Robbie Eagles attending. We've got Damian Slater attending from TMDK. We've got Slex from TMDK. Robbie Eagles is TMDK as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'll note that.
he is.
But then
Like,
also,
we've got an absolutely stacked
But I was
card.
also referring to local, as in this coming
next
weekend,
week we've got Slam Pro
our local
Wrestling
Slam
Rumble.
Yes.
Which Damian Slater, he's also wrestling.
wrestling
Yep,
there as well.
He'll be there. Luke Watts is defending his title against
Vinny
the hooligan,
Bronson.
Vinny Bronson, with Josh at ringside. I believe they've sold over 600 tickets. It's at the
Woden Southern Cross Club
Woden
this
Southern
week.
Cross Club, yeah.
Oh, next
So
week.
if you are interested in going, I would recommend jumping on and buying some tickets as soon as possible, because it's probably getting pretty close to selling out.
Yeah,
Come
definitely.
support us there.
Yeah, come spot us, have a chat. But look, definitely go. It's
have some
such
fat
good
chat.
The
fun.
crowd for me because I can't yell anymore. So
Yeah.
just yell
Yeah.
at Dan Archer, whatever you want to.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Hit him up on social media.
But also
too.
buy some merch. He's got some pretty sick shirts coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to get the,
wanna get the
Dan
green
Archer
one.
Sucks tour.
Yeah.
Dan, you saved me one of those shirts. But go check it out. The Slam crowd are actually an awesome crowd. They really get into it. The Slam show itself just broke the trophy.
I told you we should glue it.
We should. But go check it out. It is great. They've always got great wrestlers turning up and putting on a good show. So if you haven't bought tickets, buy some. Come see us. Come join us. Come chant away and have a great time. So I think that's it.
Yeah, wrap it up there.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel Daniels. Thank you, Ready Reece.
Thank you,
I'm
Booker Ted.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Check
All
us
of the
out.
above. Yeah.
Instagram,
X,
YouTube,
YouTube,
Spotify.
Spotify.
Comments. Give us some comments.
Yeah, hit us
Comments,
up, man.
yeah.
I want to
Just
hear.
talk about it.
Just roast me. Roast me.
Just
about
give
my
me
comments.
quotes that you want me to read. It sounds like Mickey Mouse.
Oh, what was it quite
Have you
like?
seen the AI generated promos getting released?
No.
People are doing
I
like
have seen them. I
yeah,
have seen
on
them.
TikTok
Check
and stuff.
them out.
People are doing wrestling promos and they're changing the voices with AI to be
Mickey
Goofy
Mouse
and Mickey Mouse.
They had CM Punk. They did the CM Punk and Cody one with
shit's
Mickey
so
Mouse
funny,
and
dude.
Goofy. But the word I do want to hear, and this is my, can you say it's a tuffle again?
It's a tough one.
Thank you again, guys. That's Down Under the Mat for another week. Thank you so much. We'll see you here next time. Bang, bang.
Bang bang scissor gang.
Yeah.